US authorities are prosecuting a former drug company executive for contributing to the country's opioid epidemic. Laurence Doud will face trial in the Manhattan Federal Court this week. He's accused of knowingly distributing opioid drugs to pharmacies, which were dispensing them unlawfully. The case has highlighted a health crisis which has caused hundreds of thousands of deaths and countless heartache.
This board represents all of our people that have lost their fight to addiction.
They are victims of an insidious killer spreading across the country. In White Earth, Minnesota, they've buried 148 men and women in the past 12 months who died of an opioid overdose.
He was such a good son and loving son to me.
Kyle Domreese was just 24 years old.
He gave up. He was feeling really hopeless.
The COVID pandemic has worsened America's opioid epidemic. According to newly released data, there were a record 101,000 overdose deaths in the US in the last reporting year. That's a 28.5% increase on the year prior. More than 270 people killed each day. This is what's killing most of them. Almost two-thirds of US drug deaths were caused by fentanyl. It's a synthetic opioid which can be 50 times as potent as heroin. Just a quarter of a milligram can be fatal.
You could be getting a potentially lethal overdose in one pill just by the structure, how they're made, and how they're distributed.
Okay, guys, so looks like we're about to have some action here, so I'm going to kill the engine.
US authorities play cat and mouse with drug runners. Most are from Mexico, using chemicals from China. 700 kilograms of fentanyl was seized in the US last year, a tiny fraction of what's believed to be on the streets.
As long as American citizens still want these products, they'll always find a way to get it in here.
Fentanyl was designed to be used in hospitals as a painkiller.
We've developed an entire generation of people that are addicted to opiate prescriptions, oxycodone, hydrocodone, things like that. And what that's led to is an increase in heroin addiction and subsequently an increase in the fentanyl product.
16-year-old Daniel Puerta overdosed after taking a prescription drug laced with fentanyl bought on a social media site.
Never see him get married or have a family of his own. I will never be a grandfather.
The current fight against illicit fentanyl and the opioid crisis is failing. The US has spent an estimated $1 trillion in its 50-year war on drugs. Yet supply and demand grows. Drug reform advocates want President Biden to take a different tack.
We have to look at other countries that have reversed epidemics. None of those countries use the tactics we're talking about in the States. They decriminalized, they created more access to treatment, they opened safe injection sites. They did the opposite of what our government right now is proposing.
The nation with 5% of the world's population is using 85% of the world's opioids. Something drastic may be needed to end this insidious and increasingly more deadly epidemic. Brent O'Halloran, Sky News.